Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy. For nerds by nerds. Hang out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy's Ted.
Nerdarchy's going to teach you how to combine your monsters into a more devastating effect.
Hey guys, jump down to the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter. It's a great way to get gaming tips as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So Matthew had sent a video suggestion question to nerdarchy@gmail.com. You guys can send your suggestions and even GM911s there. But basically, he wanted to do a combiner monster a la the Defensors and Devastators of the old Transformers series and toys.
Oh, to an extent, even Voltron.
Yes, the Voltrons, anything, Power Rangers, anything where you're combining it. So he kind of wanted to make that happen in his game. So he wanted to know how we would go about that. And I actually played in a game in our Epic Monster Hunter series that Rep was running for a little while, where he had did a Tarrasque, and I think he had also done maybe a Dragon Battle. And the one I played in was he did a Horde Golem, but it was actually like 5 Horde Golems all combined into one. So the problem with Solar Monsters is always the same thing. It's action economy. They don't get enough actions. Lair actions help. Well, lair actions as well as legendaries. Yeah. They help, but it's still not the same because there's a huge difference between getting all your actions at once and spreading them out through the course of the whole turn.
Right.
Or the whole round. So I believe what Brett had done was the golem would take several actions. Now, I don't remember if he gave them each their own initiative or if they all just acted on the same initiative. You could very well do that. Matthew's idea is to use golems, right? And, very much have them just combine, or they could combine or decombine. He's like, should they start off apart and then come together? Or should they at some point break apart? Now, the only thing I will say for one thing is definitely while the fight is going on, whether you choose same initiatives or different initiatives, you should have each part of the body doing something that's appropriate for it. Mm-hmm. Like the head, say you go with 5 golems or 5 creatures, right? So the torso and the head should be like either like a breath weapon or eye beams or something like that. Obviously, the hands are going to punch or attack with weapons, and the feet are going to stomp or kick.
Yes.
Or possibly bite.
Well, yeah. If you've got the Voltron set up, these guys are completely within their ability to open up and deliver a bitey kick.
The bite kick to the groin. Devastating.
Oh God.
So there's definitely tons of ways to do that. And as far as how you want to start off the fight, whatever you think's going to be more impactful to your players or more thematic,
right? If you start off with the creature combined, it's like, oh dear Lord, this towering thing. You finally defeat it, and the thing crumples into a pile, and you could just be like, okay, all right, you win, or that the players think they win. And that's when the pieces begin moving. Or, vice versa. Now, you batter the 5 pieces, or however many it is, into immobility. And the final one standing says, no, we will not be defeated. Or, it delivers this, like,
speech monologue.
This monologue. And if it's a golem, you could have it be, like, a pre-programmed thing. And you might even take out your smartphone and deliver a line that comes across in that
synthesized voice.
And the pieces fly together in a swirl, and it could you could narrate the thing and not allow players to interrupt what's going on, and before you know it, the pieces are all reconfigured, and now Voltron or Devastator is sitting there before them.
Bruticus, he was my favorite. The Stunticons are really cool too.
I like the Constructicons personally.
Well, basically, all the Decepticon combiners are way cooler than the Autobot combiners.
It's so true.
But yeah, so there are some ideas. I would literally probably, if I was going to do this, I wouldn't make up anything new per se. I would probably take monsters that already exist in some of the other books and put them together, whether it's the same type or not. And maybe you might want to give it some cool abilities when it's combined. And just kind of like change out some of the things that are already there so that they're thematic anyway.
Right.
Like he said about, a stomp that knocks things prone. Yeah, that would absolutely be something that would be thematic and right in lines with what you're doing. Yeah, and it could be fun. I thought it was cool when Brett did it in his game. We actually had to kill parts of the monster, as we'd fight, and he'd like ask, "Well, where are you targeting?" And it wasn't until the fight actually finally ended that that we knew that we were actually fighting a bunch of monsters that had kind of compiled together. And the other thing too was like there were certain abilities that the Horde Golem had that was pretty devastating. I think it was a pretty close fight.
Nice.
But yeah, if you want to just totally throw off your players and do something like this, and I don't know about you and your games, but I think it's fun when you can incorporate things from pop culture and nerdy things, geeky things that are kind of like nods to different genres or shows that you enjoyed or different media you've enjoyed. So I always like that stuff.
Absolutely. You could have this being done by some kind of mad wizard, some kind of crazy necromancer, and like, there's a ritual enacted upon his room where these 5 guardians are, and that when they die, that's when they become fused together to make this crazy monstrosity. It could be, as Dave was talking about or Matthew was talking about, be it golems that. Again, once a certain thing happens, they either, combine or come apart or what have you. There's a number of different interesting ways that you could do it.
I do have one tip.
Oh, okay.
I would take the combined, I'd figure out the combined challenge of the encounter for all the monsters and figure out what challenge that is appropriate for. And I would use that as a proficiency bonus for the combined creature. Mm-hmm. Because generally when you're going to do this, you're generally going to take somewhat weaker monsters and put them together. And the problem with that is like you may pick a bunch of cool monsters that have a +5 to hit or a +7 to hit, but if your party has armor classes in the 20s, you're not going to hit them.
Right.
So it's going to be kind of like, it's going to look thematic and look cool, but it's going to be kind of wasted. So one of the things that you could do. And, I think this works really well if you start with them, either way, whether you start with them decombined or combined, like you let the party just totally whoops their asses, right? And then they combine and they're way tougher. And now their proficiency bonus is the combined proficiency bonus for their attacks and their abilities and stuff like that. So even resisting their effects is going to be harder. Or if you had them combined and they get broken apart and then they have to fight the components, they're so much weaker. Mm-hmm. So then the party can really just tramps right through them, and that that could be fun too. Like that part, like at that point you may not even go through with the fight. You just might let them narrate what they do, or you might narrate what they do to them. Mm-hmm. So that would be the one tip I would say if you're going to do this combiner thing. I would say figure out the challenge rating for the encounter, and then find out where that puts the proficiency bonus for the combined monster and give it the beefed up proficiency bonus. So even if you're just using all the special abilities and attacks from just the individual monsters, it'll be a beefed up version, but it's still some quick math to figure it out.
Yep. Have you done anything like this in your games? You got any cool suggestions that you want to throw out there? There's a place for that, and that's down in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can patronize us in a good way over on Patreon.
So until next time, stay nerdy.